in the early stages up against Cuz on Israel. Do or die here for both of these teams. We jump into game 3. Kwangdong, 하나, 둘, 셋!
Kwangdong fighting!
낭심, 하나, 둘, 셋!
낭심 fighting!
All right, Saturday Showdown, the final game of this series, and it means so much for both of these squads. Kwangdong Freaks trying to get themselves back into some playoff safety with victory here, currently still clinging. But if Nongshim were to start some sort of a run, then their spot could very quickly start to become under fire. And with 2 losses against Bro, you cannot overstate how impactful that is, because every other team in the league has managed to beat them.
Yep. Man, it's so crazy just how much Kwangdong Freaks split, like the storyline has just transformed in such a short period of time. From being like, hey, these guys are actually really good, they're on the western side, you know, they were at points in like 4th place, and now it's like, can they beat Nongshim?
Yeah.
Will they make playoffs? Serious questions being asked.
And look, I think with this draft, Kwangdong Freaks put themselves in a great position. I think that this is actually a really winning line. I think after that Rakan pick, that as we can see here, I mean, it's pretty devastating.
Yep. This is why I don't think it makes sense to pick the Rakan. You can see Peter went at Q level 1 there to try and sustain some of the damage, but the problem is that just means you offer even less threat.
Yeah.
Not that they really offered any returns, so I'm not saying it's the wrong choice, just it's one of these things where you're not going to be able to land a W, and I don't think you're going to get to be able to auto minions. Yeah, the double Halo Blades Bull didn't even get to auto, didn't need to.
No, he just pressed E, and that was enough.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Level 2 picked up for both of these bottom laners on Kwangdong Freaks' side. Nongshim going to have to wait a while before that one does come in, as this minion wave is starting to stack up. Now,
you know, and we're seeing Cuz pathing towards bot. I'm not sure I don't think he'll be here in time, really, to punish on this. Maybe if you'd done like bot side into bot dive, that could have been an angle, dive them when they're level 1. But just going for a more of a straightforward clear. Still, we get to see how much value Kwangdong Freaks can get with this wave crashing in. They just want to keep landing the poke and try and deny as much farm as possible.
Yep. You can see Jiwoo actually dashing forward, trying to avoid some of that damage. Working out quite nicely, to be perfectly honest with you. Not too bad. But it's plates that is going to be the focus here. It's not going to be a dive or anything like that for Kwangdong Freaks. And this first plate should be on the menu very, very soon. Peter and Jiwoo just doing their very best to try and get as much farm as they possibly can. Yeah, they do get level 3 at least.
Yeah, they got the heal from the Q, but it was on the Hail of Arrows, so the healing was reduced. Just doesn't look fun.
No.
Doesn't look fun to play at all. Been through most pots. You actually saw Jiwoo when boots plus several potions, which in terms of surviving through the poke is pretty good. But you have a lot less base health without a Doran's item and a lot less AD, so they're threatening a dive here. I honestly think they realistically could maybe look for the angle, but it looks like they're not going to go for Cuz just shadowing.
Yeah, they run out of minions a little bit too quickly there, so Cuz not going to go for it. And why would you mess up a good thing? Because right now, even though they're not getting kills or anything like that, I mean, it's still working here towards this bottom side. Having a look around the rest of the map, Dundun actually having a decent time. We know that he loves his Jax. He's always been a huge fan of this champion. And so probably going to be relatively comfortable. See whether that's actually going to be enough here, as this wave did get shoved in. Nongshim did stay here to answer.
You know, all things considered, I don't think Jiwoo's done that bad. You know, 7th CS down is pretty okay. Considering like he didn't get to touch the first 2 waves until they hit the tower, they've kind of held on okay, but this is one of the things where it sounds like I'm saying, oh, it's fine, but now Bull's going to come back to lane with a Dirk. You're getting more points in the Varus' Q and the Ashe W. You know, as much as it looks really bad early on, it doesn't really get that much better. And Jiwoo just came back to lane with only 1 health potion.
Yeah, and shoes. Berserk's Greaves, if he can, you know, run out of the way of some of these piercing arrows, could be a good thing, but, I mean, volley, difficult to avoid.
Yeah.
Some shoes. It's okay. Seismic Shove going to land onto Bulldog here. Haven't really had a check-in with Fiesta on this champion so much as Sylvie. Just going to get a nice trade against Cuz, even able to get the sapling follow-up after the twisted advance. Not too bad there, as Peter will be able to find a Gleaming Quill. And he's just battle dancing around. I think so much is going to come down to whether a gank is going to actually occur towards his bottom side and who's going to be able to have the control. As we can see, Sylvie getting to work on the grubs. We'll be able to grab one of them. Gleaming Quill value coming in.
Yeah, he's doing such a good job of landing these Qs, and it makes a pretty significant difference in how to handle these lanes. I just think Quantum Freaks you need to focus a lot on dodging them, because if it connects, you're just mitigating pretty much the entire trade in return. We do see that obviously with the bot prio achieved, Cuz is just going to soul this dragon.
Yeah, he's going to start it up. Andal's going to come on over and try and help him out. Bull might need to be a little bit careful. Does have a very large minion wave, so Nongshim probably not going to threaten. And so the Drake is going to be taken down. Full information for Nongshim to know that this is happening. Alright, Grand Entrance going to come through here for Peter. But they know that Cuz is well and truly in the vicinity.
Yeah, I mean the timing's okay because it just cleared out the wave. So Peter should have his cooldowns back up by the time the next wave hits. But it looks like they're actually looking for the dive angle now. All summoners available, this could be tricky.
Yeah, could be. Extendo Beam just to try and hit this wave as they look for Peter, and they'll take him down. That is just so quick. As Jiwoo now going to be the next one on the menu. Andil's going to tank up this turret to start this one off. There's the cleanse out as he looks for it. Andil just had enough health to be able to tank this one up, and they just kill both of them with 0 response.
Yeah, perfectly played, honestly. Every part of that was absolutely textbook. And the thing is, it's so difficult as a defensive duo in that scenario, because Peter, like, if you flash before the first bit of damage hits, then they don't have aggro. You've just wasted your flash. But by not flashing, you get CC chain to die before you get to play the game. All
right, Nature's Grasp here towards this top side of the map. The flash was used, but I don't think it's going to be enough there as Dudu does just heal himself back up, and I guess he's just going to be fine. Really thought that they'd be able to get the last little bit of damage, but Aatrox.
Yep, managed to heal up, even though he didn't get a sweet spot on that final Q. It was enough healing, and that feels really rough. You commit both flashes topside, you commit the Maokai ult. Maokai ult, one of the best tools for ganking bot. You just walk in the river, press ult, covers like the whole lane, really effective against like an Ashe Varus, and it's now unavailable. And you've also burned so much resources to get nothing in the top lane. Meanwhile, your bot is bleeding. Definitely a rough start for Nongshim.
Yeah, this is really not the way that you'd want it to go. And Fiesta also went for the Merc Treads and the tier, so he doesn't have very much to offer at this point in the game when it comes to damage, and we're gonna have to watch this again.
Yeah, the juggling's really good. You know, the first bit of damage that takes aggro is CC, and they just chain it. No chance for Peter to play the game. And here, Andal takes aggro, allows the other two to do the work, and just walks at a tower perfectly in time.
All right, Fiesta. I'd have to flash here, but no. Actually just gets the phase rush and is able to walk his way out. So that's definitely good news. Fiesta having a little bit of control. This is where the good news ends.
Yeah, the Gleaming Quill holding up less and less against the foe as Quantum Freaks start to pick up more and more items. Even just that longsword, apparently, in a couple of levels, making a lot of difference. And this, they have a ward at least covering it, but this could be a return attempt. But Maokai here, I think, should dissuade them.
Yeah, Sylvie, slight level advantage here as well. And so I don't think that they're going to be able to go for another dive, but should be more plates, and it should still be a lot of difficulty locking down these minions. Jiwoo continues to fall further and further behind. Haven't been able to take down their health bars too much, and Jiwoo is able to at least get most of them. So not the end of the world, but if Sylvie just has to be here for every single crash, and it's not great news. His top side of the map does need to be taken, because he's on his red side as well, but that's on the bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you prevent the dive, but you don't achieve anything. The lane is still terrible. There's a 30 CS lead, and plates are dying.
Yeah. And Arrow is going to connect, but Jiwoo is far enough away for that not to matter too much. And they're going to give up this turret.
Yeah, I mean, they have to. I mean, there was no actual cleanse for Jiwoo. If they'd caught the ult a bit closer, the Varus ult hit, he could have just been dead. So Honestly, at this point, I don't even think Quantum Freaks need to rush the tower. You could just let it go down, kill the minions, keep the tower alive, and then keep Nongshim in this uncomfortable position. They'll get the plate, but you're not rushed to end this laning phase. It's going so well for you.
No, exactly right. Don't make the lane too long, because that is the one downside to the Varus and the Ashe. Swifties now completed for Bull, and Cuz going to equalize the amount of bubs in this game. Sylvie going to move over this control ward, so Cuz is going to get the information. Dudu thankfully has that as well, as Counter-Strike already going to be used here, as he has invested the ult as well. There's the Nature's Grasp, but I don't know about this one, Sylvie's focus on this top side is almost baffling. Cuz going to be able to take down at least 2 of them, and there is the third as well. So 3 apiece, both of these teams.
And it feels like desperation, you know, these plays on the top side.
And it feels weird, right? Because even though like this laning phase for Jiwoo is a massive problem, they still will rely on this Zeri to carry in the late game. So they need to try and create something, if they can, to mitigate this. 1,600 gold is the lead for Bull. Getting kind of absurd. Yeah,
that's pretty insane. Already has the Ghost Blade finished.
Well, Cuz going to get a crash down. There's the arrow as well. Great layering of CC as he looks for the quickness and doesn't get it onto Undil, but it's enough just to calm up Cuz and get out, but that's a big cooldown.
I don't think it matters that much that the Ashe ult goes down. It's just you poke out. Peter, you mean the chance of them fighting is pretty much a 0. Fiesta's getting chunked as well. This game for Quantum Freaks is all about control, you know? Not even allowing the fight to start, because everyone on the side of Nongshim is so low and so out of resources that the fight doesn't even get to happen. You just win because you poke them out. And we're kind of seeing the Dragon being taken once again without contest. They're going to poke Jiwoo out under the tower here. And if he overstays, he could just go down.
Well, he's going to ult to try and clear out the wave, and he's going to have to cleanse, but he does so very late. There's the battle dance to get Peter in there. That piercing arrow, man, that would have been a dead Jiwoo. But instead, he's going to be okay. Bulldog now making his way over, looking for Dundun. And a teleport is going to come on through. He flashes, but he's still going to get clipped by the Emperor's Divide. And now Fiesta, he wants Bulldog, gets the flash out as that Seismic Shove was in a good position. Still, the teleporting Talia doesn't really offer anything, and they just move on up, grab themselves a kill. They'll grab this turret on the bottom side as well, and this is disaster. And I just my brain keeps going back to this draft, keeps going back to this Rakan being locked in for no reason. And it is continued punishment for that choice.
They're feeling the pain for it. The gold lead's so big right now. The gold lead between 80 carries massive. And considering the amount of attention that was put top lane, this is the final outcome, is Dundun ends up dying, and they achieve nothing with those repeated ganks. So don't even get the trade back kill as a sad thing. Bulldog flashing at the right time. You can't even blame Fiesta for that. He did what he could. It just feels like Nongshim, at 13 minutes in the game, have started to run out of options.
Not great. Still, they're going to have to play it out. Quantum Freaks, they have made mistakes in the past. So it might be an opportunity for Nongshim here.
Have some Zeri moments, you know.
Yep. They're always possible. If she's in the game, it is a thing that could happen. Still just wants to get to the static Shiv. A much later one than in Game 1. I think at this stage of Game 1, he had like a BF sword with a Hurricane and a Shiv.
I like how if you look at the levels, it went Bull, then both the junglers, then Jiwoo. You know, like there was that distinct separation, a bit of a gap between. And the thing is, I think Quantum Freaks closing this game out and getting a clean win is really just going to come down to their discipline, because there's definitely a path to victory that seems straightforward, but any mistakes that, as you said, they have made before, even in the series, open up the opportunity for Nongshim just to pick up a streak of kills, right? They have engage tools, they have a hyper carry who is obviously far behind now, but all it'll take is one team fight and Zeri will clean up.
Yep, and right now, sort of out of the woods a little bit when it comes to, you know, the dangers in this game. It was the laning phase that was always going to be the worst time. So now should be able to sit mid and just try and get as much farm back as possible. We'll come on over and grab the wolves.
Especially the Shiv helps a lot with that. With battling the wave clear of the Varus.
And Dundun holding his own here on this top lane as well. Still wants to get that first item, but does have his Cull cashing in 2 minions. As I say this.
You know what? I do want to take note.
Yeah?
Ocean Infernal Hex Tech.
Oh.
You gotta change of pace for the game 3.
Yeah. Imagine if Nongshim found a fight on the Dragon and then got a Quadra Hextech Soul.
That would be pretty nice.
I feel like that would be very Zeri.
I think Jiu would appreciate that.
Yeah. But it's probably going to be more likely Quandong Freaks moving on over to this Dragon, looking to take it down in a minute and a half, and then threatening Soul immediately afterwards. Nongshim might have maybe like 6.5 minutes in this game before they are forced to fight.
Yep. Thing is as well is that Andil doesn't have Humble Glaive yet, which is actually... Honestly, I'm not sure that Nongshim are going to fight this regardless, but as soon as he gets that, it becomes even harder to contest Vision. Just having the extra essential free sweeper and be able to kill wards quicker. They are going to look to use a Herald in the mid tier 1. It's just going to go down.
Yeah, Arrow going to connect onto Sylvie. Chains of Corruption there as well. Magnetstorm, everything, and he just blows up. That's going to be another charge as Cuz will just guide Shelly towards this turret. That's going to be ripped away as well. And now the mid lane is much longer. Jiwoo was relying on that to try and get some farm. Now it's going to be so much more difficult, especially when a Sundisk is also going to be put up. So Bull now very happily farming in enemy territory.
Well, the good news is that Sylvie's back up in time for the Dragon Spawn. The bad news is everything else that happened.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like this is one of these situations where you go, look guys, if they get into the Dragon, the game might just be boom. We've got to fight it. And the game will probably be boom if you lose this fight. So I think Nongshim might feel forced into this if they give 3 Dragons over. Being on the cusp of a Hextech Soul for the rest of the game is going to make it very difficult.
And one thing that is good is that Nongshim do have this pocket of vision control they have put together for themselves. Jiwoo now rotating over, Cuz on vision now as Peter does spot him out. And Fiesta puts up a wall. They look for Bull, who is now by himself on the side. Seismic Shove going to pull him back. And Bull's now just trying to get the damage down. The arrow from downtown is incredible as the knockback also pretty good. Fiesta trying to keep himself alive. And now Jiwoo may have found an angle. He flashes over. He gets one. But now Bull comes back into the fight. Sylvie, can you actually get him is the question. As Jiwoo over the wall is just so awkward. The placement is so weird. And now he's just going to get torn up. It was so close to being okay for Nongshim, and then it was a horrendous disaster.
The theory of the play was there. It made sense. You could see how Nongshim imagined it going, but the execution was all off there. The fact Bull managed to survive for so long in that play, it really ended up backfiring. They overextended, and they got punished for it, and now it's 3 Dragons in favor of Quandong Freaks and a very sizable gold lead. Oh no.
Oh, didn't it? Well, Andil might be dead. No, he's not. I thought that perhaps Peter could get in there. Grand Entrance is going to be used as an exit. As, my God, the amount of damage the Bull just did to this Rakan. Very severe. So
that was through Celestial opposition, you know.
Yeah.
The Celestials weren't really opposing that much.
No, they weren't. I think they're feeling a little bit in two minds about how things are going at this point in time. We're going to have the comparison between Bull and Jiwoo here. Not looking great for the Nongshim bottom laner. The two sides to the Zeri compositions in the last couple of games. As Quandong Freak's not able to steal away the big Raptor, so at least Sylvie does manage to get that one for himself. As it is 19 minutes into the game and moving towards a 6,000 gold lead. It's starting to become, like, the surmountability of this game for Nongshim is starting to go away from them. And this isn't helping as Magnetstorm going to be coming in as well. Wow. He gets his Nature's Grasp out as now Peter dives in. The Bull is going to turn up and Battle Dance going to be needed to get him out of there. Jiwoo will turn up as well though as they look to split the fight with this Weaver's Wall. Jiwoo actually flanking right now on this Zeri. Can they actually make something happen? Because the Aatrox, he can't get in there. He doesn't have the teleport, but still, everybody on Quandong Freaks, it's still a 4v4, and they're way stronger. They're way bigger.
It's so hard to approach. You know, the Maokai dead, who's basically your main frontliner in the situation. Oh.
That's a nice seismic shove as Andil very, very close to going down, but he'll survive.
It feels like Nongshim want to look for it again, but they will back away. 6,000 gold lead, and they didn't end up achieving anything off that. There's 1,200 gold and bounties on this Azir and Varus. And at least they got the flash of the Azir, but nothing more. We'll see, you know, if you track what Peter's trying to do. So the wall comes in, he waits for Bull's flash, baits it with his own, but he critically misses his W in.
Yeah.
The seismic shove connects, but Bull is able to create enough space, turns out a bunch of damage as the team come in. And I think the fact that Bull is low is irrelevant, because he can just play at max range in this situation. His effectiveness is the exact same as if he was full HP, and they're just not able to chase him down. The fact he gets ult up as well at the end is so bad for them. Gio trying to make the most of this situation, but as soon as the Aatrox turns up, no chance.
Nope, he's just dead. It was a very late teleport, but is able to come in there and grab at least a little bit. This was just a pick onto Sylvie. And if maybe Dundun and Jiwoo were here just a little bit sooner, perhaps that could have worked out. This almost looked like it was a good thing as well. They just couldn't get there. Walls were being put up, all sorts of things. The flash out of the seismic shove was definitely good there from Bulldog. I think Fiesta has looked pretty good as Jiwoo able to get himself out of the way. If he was hit by that Chains of Corruption, he was dead. Does have 2 items at least now. But it's that's about the end of the good news.
Yeah, it is.
All right, Arrow going to connect onto Fiesta. He'll take a volley as well.
It's just so hard to approach. When you have a composition, like this is kind of similar to the issues we saw from Nongshim's comp in Game 1, where they had the Zeri Talia, and they were into the Azir Varus, and they were just outranged, and they couldn't find a way to approach. And that time was the Maokai, you know, the control he offers, the saplings, the counter engage. But here you have the Varus and the Rel, and because he's just playing bodyguard in every situation, and Andil is just spamming Ws, clearing vision with providing vision with the Hawk Shot, clearing vision with the Umbral Glaive. It's so hard to approach this Quandong Freaks lineup, and if you're outranged by this Varus who's so fed, you just get poked. There's just no real resolution unless you find like an insane flank that somehow isn't spotted out when you have less vision than the other team, and you know the Ashe is clearing every ward that gets placed.
I mean, the game is like I've got a bit of good news, right?
Yep.
Nongshim's Nexus is up.
For now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is up.
It is. And, hey, more. They don't have Soul yet. Okay, Andal going to get caught out. Arrow is going to be the response. Sylvie pretty happy to tank it. This Rookern is completed. And despite the fact that it's Bull that is extraordinarily fed and does have a lot of damage, it is still going to be Rookern that's the priority. And I don't even blame him. That item is pretty silly. We're going to come on over, clear out this wave. Nongshim at least do have an avenue over to this Drake that's going to be up in 8 seconds' time. Because looking for some of this honey fruit, almost loses his Rookern. Disaster, as they do secure the Rift Scuttler. And so now, Dundun gets that wave pushed in, knows where the Aatrox is. That is definitely good news.
See a ward being placed down. A good flank angle from the Aatrox would make all the difference, and they're looking for it.
Yep. And here is the teleport in from Dundun. He's going to get there first. As Andil, he gets over the wall. Dundun now just going to be biding his time. Peter and Dundun, can they actually get in there and make something happen? Because this poke is landing from Quandong Freaks, and Dudu, he's found his way in as well. Andil is a tasty target. Might be an option here for Dundun if he can try and get in there. There's the seismic shove. Peter tries to get something done, but immediately blows up. Can they find the fight, though, is the question. Is Andil is probably going to go down as well. Sylvie, he steals the Drake! He's a hero! And Dundun and Jiwoo, they do manage to take down the support. Still, it's a 3-for-2 in favor of the Quandong Freaks as Dundun wants to get himself out of here. Thought that maybe he could find a 1v1 against somebody. It's not going to work out. Okay, that was close enough to a victory for Nongshim for me to feel comfortable reminding everyone.
I call that a straight win.
Yeah?
I call that a straight win. They got a shutdown on for the Varus, so they traded up in gold, and they got the Dragon objective bounty as well. You know, that's the best case scenario. They do commit heavily onto the Azir and aren't able to kill him. But Dundun and Jiwoo just go ham on this Varus Ashe, who are great at a range, not so good up close at dealing with these threats. And even though, you know, the kills are traded up, they managed to secure a big influx of gold with the Varus shut down, the objective bounties, everything. So it's a 4.5k gold lead. That's a lot less than it was before.
Certainly is. Managed to stem the bleeding somewhat. 2 items, also a pickaxe and a Vamp Scepter now done for Jiwoo. As Cuz will face check Sylvie. Peter and Dundun are off towards the side here. Hexgate's going to be taken. Sylvie's just really dead, but can they get on top of Bull? This is the flank angle that they're looking for. This seismic shove could be huge, but only lands onto one, and now Jiwoo, he's on top of Andal. That's going to be the first kill for him as Peter is battle dancing his way out. Look at these health bars though on Dundun and Fiesta. They are no longer in this fight, and look at how scary this Dudu is, and not even able to skate his way out of it. Jiwoo is just cut down where he stands, and Kwangdong Freaks, they'll transition into a Baron. And yeah, there was a little bit of positivity that we're allowed to give there for Nongshim, and now it's all over.
Yeah, I think the problem is the angle looked okay, but they weren't able to get on top of Bull, who had Flash, and also the Maokai was dead before anything happened. If Sylvie was able to survive longer for this play to actually come to fruition, it's a different story, but you've lost your jungler without ulting off the bat, and although the position looks tricky here, you know, the fact is they managed to chunk out Fiesta, and Bull has Flash. When this play erupts, he immediately disengages and is back to pumping out damage. You can see him and Bulldog are unchallenged here.
Yeah, absolutely. Even the hail of arrows doing about 1 billion damage.
It is hit.
Yeah, it's not great news. And shout outs to Cuz as well. 1-0-12. Honestly, feels like Cuz has had just return to form here, which has been required because he looked a bit rough up against the bros. This has looked a whole lot better. Nongshim back out onto the Rift now, but the Baron power play already up to about 1600. Thank you, Red Bull, for that one. And Cuz, lying in wait, is in a dangerous spot. Is this the caster curse? No, it's not. He's just too fed. And he's so incredibly tanky.
Yeah, I can't imagine a scenario where engaging onto the Rel works.
Yeah. Is this tower just dead anyway as the siege minion? Okay, it's going to lose the buff, and so therefore it is going to be taken down.
You can honestly just let the minions kill it and deny the gold.
Yeah, look,
but I don't think they're going to make that play. Yeah, I mean, it's back to a substantial lead. It's 8,000 again. And you kind of see that reflected in the items. You know, you have the 3 item kind of core from Azir, the Nashers, the Leandries, and the Crypt Bloom doing a ton of damage to basically everyone. And the Varus pretty much overstocked with lethality at this point.
Yeah, he's got some items.
And then the only thing I'll say is that Jiwoo is level 15, so in terms of levels, he's kept up pretty well. Sometimes you have these situations where everyone's super far behind in levels, but the Zeri still feels serviceable. It's just, I think the main issue we're finding is that the front line isn't.
No.
Sylvie just gets deleted before they even start thinking about having a team fight.
And Peter is not really able to even get any CC down because he sort of just disappears in a puff of smoke.
You know, it kind of feels like he doesn't have Celestial opposition, and it's like he's taking on a ton of damage through it. In fact, it just feels like it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like it didn't do that much damage, but that's through his passive shield as well, and Celestial opposition. The next Q from Bull is going to hit a lot more.
Let's see whether it does land here. Seismic Shove going to be avoided. Andal is still very squishy, so he could be a target that they might be able to look for. As Bulldog clearing out some vision here as well. Arrow going to connect onto Fiesta, but they have found the Azir. Still, Emperor's Divide does come down. Nature's Grasp is decent, but he goes golden. That is massive! And Cuz, oh my gosh, him and Dudu just tear them up. Jiwoo, I don't even know where he went, but he's really dead now. And Kwangdong Freaks, I think they can just kind of look at Nongshim and they will just fall over, and that is precisely what they did. No Drake needed. They'll just look to break open the base.
Yeah, they can do a lot of damage to the base. If they want, they can go back, pick up the dragon after. But if they stop Dundun from recalling, they might just be able to end.
Yep, they might just be able to finish this game. As he is going to try to teleport, and he will be able to make it out. So let's see whether they can mount some sort of heroic defense. The tree is very much chopped down. Peter and Dundun against the world. The grand entrance is not really that. Bull's got to cleanse, and Dundun does not have a health bar. Double kill for a 7-0-10 Azir. The Nexus will be taken down, and Kwangdong Freaks a return to form here in game number 3. It was a tougher series than I think they would have liked, but a win's a win.
Yeah, I mean, that game 2, definitely Nongshim seemed completely in control, but it's crazy we had such a stompy game 2, such a stompy game 3, Game 1 was the only one that was really close.
Yeah.
Despite the scoreline of the series. And so I don't think we can say this is 100% a return to the form we saw before the Bro series. Quantum Freaks definitely still have some work to do, but this is a much needed reprieve and will healthily extend the gap they have that keeps them in 6th place.
And I really hope that we see as many votes for POG Andal as possible, because I just think that this guy being able to turn around what were some tough games earlier on, having an absolutely massive one here, completely controlling vision, controlling the lane, allowing Bull to get all of this money so that he could do all of that damage while still remaining relatively safe. I feel like because Andal was kind of the way back into the game for Nongshim, if he chain died throughout the mid game, which is what a lot of Ashes do in a losing situation, could have given a bit of money back, could have allowed these Zeri moments to happen, but it just never did. Yeah,
a lot of restraint when it came up to setups for objectives, and even the situations, whenever he did die, there was a few of them, it felt like so much had to be committed from Nongshim, there was no way out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing if you're playing the Ashe support is make sure they're not just getting a free little one-tap pick. And also the confidence behind him and Cuz looking for those picks on a Sylvie on the Maokai who definitely struggled.
All right, Bull, always a hero for the camera.
Yeah, proud hero or not, he'll show it off.
And Andal, I think feeling proud of himself. I think you could see that in his expression there. Always a very understated man, but definitely having a brilliant one here. The way that they navigated this tower dive, gorgeous. Really just set them up for victory.
Yeah, and it was just so hard to recover from this point. I definitely think Nongshim are going to go back and look at that Rakan pick on 4 and regret it.
Yeah.
They tried their best. I think that's one thing that's always true in Nongshim. They tried their best to fight their way out of this deficit. They kind of knew the angles they had to look for, but it just felt so hard. And even any slight misexecution, like Peter missing the engage there on Bull, I'm not even sure if he landed that they necessarily win the fight, but definitely didn't help.
No. And I think that, yeah, you're exactly right. It just comes down to needing to understand what was likely to come up in the draft. And perhaps, you know, Andal has not played any Ashe in any scrims or anything like that. They didn't have information of him as an Ashe player, but I don't think that is really a thing.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of inexcusable.
Part of it was maybe they were scared about the Rakan being picked up in return.
Yeah.
You know, it's obviously a big pick for Peter as well, so maybe want to secure it. But you see in this fight, I know they're super fed at this point, but he kind of just gets one shot when he's going in. I mean, everyone does, to be honest. The damage is just absurd.
No, it's gross. And Dudu as well, finally getting into a team fight. Looking fantastic in this moment.
This moment as well.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that TP has to get banned, and then it's so sad because Nongshim just doing everything they can to try and stop the game end. And it just, yeah, it doesn't work.
No, and even after he teleports in, he's like, what have I teleported into?
Maybe you were just better off fighting the Ashe, if I'm going to be honest.
I think so, maybe.
It might have gone better, but then to never want to back away from a death for the team.
No, and he's like, oh, but there's more bad guys over here. That's more people to fight.
How cool would it have been if he saved the game? That's what's going through his head. It's like, how sick would it have been if he was able to defend the base? But yeah, I just think you can even look for the damage graphs. It didn't feel like Nongshim got an opportunity to play the game really after those early moments.
No. And Bull and Bulldog both doing